and welcome to this week's episode of Geek-Minded Fools. My name's Graham.
And I'm Scott.
We'll kick off, as usual, with a visit to the monkey farm.
Hey, partners, it's time to see what Scott's doing down on his monkey farm.
Indeed we will, sir. As always, you're slightly welcome to my monkey farm.
Thank you.
It is with much trepidation that I allow you in once again, but
Always.
I always will let you in.
It's always the case.
What have we got this week? We've got some apocalyptic news.
Oh.
And then the rest of it is basically Marvel news.
Oh, I like a bit of Marvel news.
I know you like a bit of Marvel news. So we're going to start with some apocalyptic news, though. Bethesda. I can never pronounce it properly, but I'm going to go with Bethesda. The makers of Fallout, the Fallout games.
Oh, okay.
A little while back, they tweeted a very, very teasing image for Fallout fans, okay? Fallout 3 was obviously our last game that we got, and people have been clamouring and crying for clamouring for a new iteration of Fallout. It looks like we're going to get it, because about 24 hours after they released this little tweet image, which was basically like a test card thing that just said, you know, kind of a coming soon sort of thing, or it led you to a link to a Fallout page.
Yeah.
24 hours later, we get some gameplay footage of the gameplay engine for Fallout 4.
Oh.
Shit the bed, it looks good.
Cool. I didn't know about this.
I think I would imagine what they've probably done is they've waited for Mad Max to come out, let that die down a bit, and then they've released their kind of little sting for what they're going to do. Man, this looks good.
Good.
Did you play the Fallout games? Did you play Fallout 3?
Never played any of them.
Right, well, Fallout 3, I think next to the GTA series of games, has easily eaten hundreds upon hundreds of hours of my life away. To the point I never finished Fallout 3. It's still sat there at home for me to finish, but it's just too big. There's so much of it. Sprawling, epic. Cannot wait to see what happens with Fallout 4. As for information for what the full story is, I imagine we're going to go along the similar lines of Fallout 3, which, again, as I said at the top of this, apocalyptic.
I've seen it played. I was around a friend's house when he was playing it and he loved it.
It's beautiful.
But he was saying it's one of those things that the moment you start sort of getting into collectibles and stuff like that, but he was saying, again, it's a great sandbox game where you can follow the main story or go off and do your own thing.
Very much so. Hours of your life can be consumed by this title. Very, very much so. Hours and hours and hours. The only thing that I think may cause a little stumbling block for them, possibly, is the fact that later on this year or early next year, we are actually getting a Mad Max game.
Okay.
Which, for all intent and purpose...
What a lovely game!
What? How did you get that and I didn't get that? Oh, that's really annoyed me. But that was brilliant. Well done. I'm very upset I didn't think of that line. And you've thrown me immensely. The only thing I think that's going to go up against Fallout 4, I think, is this Mad Max title, which for all intent and purpose, I've heard a lot of people saying could be the next Shadow of Mordor. Shadow of Mordor was a Lord of the Rings based game, which was massively popular. And I mean massively popular.
Yeah, it was.
It did very, very well. It was a great game. I'm no Lord of the Rings fan at all. I don't even like any type of ring, but this game was pretty shit hot.
Yeah.
If they can transfer the gameplay of that and the whole feel of that game into the Mad Max world, then brilliant.
About 3 or 4 months ago, all the gaming geeks at work were just... And he said school then.
Were you running around with your Parker coat on, just with the top button up, flying around in the car park? And people were saying, Graham, can you come in and do some work? No, the bell hasn't gone.
I'm just outside going, whee!
Yeah.
No.
Oh, him, yes, he's our head of finance.
The guys at work were all talking about Shadow of Mordor and how addicted they were to it.
It was a great game. It was a really, truly, truly great game. I hope they do the same with Mad Max. But obviously I digress a little bit because we weren't talking about that. We're talking about Fallout. So
we were.
Fallout 4 looks like there's a presentation coming round about mid-June time from Bethesda, which is going to give you more information. Obviously on the lead up to E3, which starts June the 16th.
Okay.
Or thereabouts. E3 obviously is the big computer game expo that happens every year. So we'll find out lots more then. Marvel news. Marvel news. I don't think we need a jingle for that.
I don't think we do.
You never know. There are rumours abound that Captain America Civil War will be featuring the Red Hulk.
Oh.
Now, we both know who the Red Hulk is.
We do.
General Thunderbolt Ross, is he not?
He is, yes.
And we also know that William Hurt has been cast.
Yes,
in
indeed.
Civil War.
Interesting.
Spoilers here, guys. At the end of Age of Ultron, Hulk does kind of disappear off.
Do a runner.
He does one,
Yes.
doesn't he? He does one in an airplane,
Yes.
doesn't he? Which some people in reviews I've read are not buying. They're kind of like, what, so now the Hulk knows how to fly an airplane? It's like, oh, come on, just let it go.
He doesn't know how to fly an aeroplane. He knows how to turn off a communicator. The airplane was on autopilot.
Thank you very much, Graham.
Fuck you, idiots.
We'll be picking up on this in another
We
podcast.
certainly
won't we?
shall.
Yes, we will. We've already got this planned. But yes,
God, I love the internet, but God, how I hate it.
yes, it's an equal level of hate and love and hate. So yes, it looks like we're going to get the Red Hulk. So the rumours are telling us. Interesting. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that because
Shake it up a bit.
let's see the Red Hulk and Green Hulk have a big old fight, eh? Let's see them have a big old rumble. Next up, sir, Marvel news. I'm gonna kind of park the last bit of news for a second and just go in with another bit of slightly lesser Marvel news, which I find equally as exciting. Do you like my delivery this week? I think my delivery's pretty good this week. It's strong. It's you know.
It's a bit Shatner-esque.
That's what I'm trying. Shatner's bassoon is what I'm trying to do. This is the name of my delivery this week. This is the Monkey Farm brought to you via Shatner's bassoon. So we loved Daredevil, didn't we? I think we've talked about it on most of our episodes since it started. Obviously, we know that we're going to get AKA Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, I believe, and the Defenders.
Well, Iron Fist as well, isn't there?
Yes, Iron Fist. Sorry, you are correct.
Because there will be the 4 series.
That's right.
And then they will spin out and they will join together to be the Defenders.
Which they're looking at around about 2017. We should get that, I think. So, I mean, I would imagine they're already filming that now for a 2017 release.
Well, don't know. I mean, still a couple of years. We're only talking TV. I mean, I know that they currently go with AKA Jessica Jones. I wouldn't imagine they'd be too far down the road with anything else.
But the exciting news is, obviously with the success of Daredevil, Netflix is now toying with the idea possibly of 3 more shows, which I must say I'm very excited about. I'm going to go in order of excitement from not as excited to really fucking excited.
Go on.
Ghost Rider.
Okay.
I'd like to see a TV show of Ghost Rider. Do you know what, the first film, I saw it in the cinema. I was lucky to see it for free at a screening, and I didn't hate it the first time I saw it. Subsequent viewings of it, that's a bad film, isn't it?
I've never had a major problem with the Ghost Rider films. Ghost Rider as a character is something who, if I'm honest, has never really interested me that much. No. The only time I've ever bought a Ghost Rider comic was as part of the Midnight Suns storylines that were going in the early 90s, I think 92, when you had like Morbius, the living vampire, and obviously Ghost Rider, and then you had some bunch of vampire killers whose name escapes me, and they sort of launched these under the Midnight Suns umbrella, and therefore I'd sort of picked up a few of those, but other than that I've never bought a comic. It never really grabbed me as a character. I
think as a TV show Ghost Rider could really work. I think it could really pop. I think it'd be very good.
I'll watch it. Yeah
definitely. Next up, the next one that they are toying with, Blade.
Okay.
Love the first Blade movie. In fact, do you know what, I quite like all the Blade movies. I think Snipes was brilliant as Blade. I thought he was really, really good. I'd never, ever read any of the comics at all, but as films go, I liked them. I thought they were good.
I think Blade, I think it was called Nightcrawlers, was the demon and vampire hunting team, and I think Blade was actually a member of Nightcrawlers, so it's sort of very much part of Marvel's supernatural side of things. Again,
something I can see working really well as a TV show, but not as well as I think their final little idea will.
Go on.
Punisher.
Okay, yeah.
We need a Punisher TV show. I really want a Punisher TV show.
Yeah, I mean, looking at Daredevil, basically take the blueprint they use for Daredevil and apply a Punisher over that.
It's already there, isn't it?
It'd be fantastic,
It's already there. Again, the Punisher was a character that I didn't know a great deal about. I think you really turned me on to the Punisher with Punisher Max, which you suggested that I got. And I absolutely loved it.
Stuff,
absolutely loved it. What a brilliant, brilliant, brilliant character Punisher truly is. I've liked all of the films. Even the Dolph Lundgren one, which I did watch recently. Maybe I don't like that as much as I like the others.
Not.
But the Tom Jane Punisher movie was pretty good. If you want to talk about eating scenery, John Travolta, he's just
but that was
falling out of his mouth.
That was very much based on the Welcome Home Frank miniseries by Garth Ennis and Steve Dillon. So
does it stick? It sticks pretty closely to that.
It doesn't stick closely, but certainly has the 3 characters that he lives with: Spacker Dave,
love that.
The fat guy and the mousy woman.
Yeah, Spacker Dave, brilliantly played by Ben Foster in the film. Yes, absolutely brilliant.
But that was the Welcome Home Frank series, which was absolutely superb.
That is going to be good if they do that.
Yes.
I mean, Ghost Rider, take it or leave it. Blade, be quite happy to see it. Punisher has to happen. So come on, Netflix. Do Punisher for us. Do it properly.
Let's get it going. It's a great time for TV shows.
Great
I think
time.
the movies have obviously been taking all the headlines, but I think, particularly with the reception Daredevil got, they're taking the TV side of things very seriously.
It's the perfect medium, I think, for shows like for characters like this. That you can't quite get everything across in like a 2-hour movie.
Yeah.
Let's spread it out over 13, 14 episodes
Isn't
or
it
22.
a wonderful time? I mean, I think we said it last episode. You go back a decade, who would have thought we'd be having these discussions about these sort of programs and these sort of movies? It is fantastic. It's a wonderful time.
It's a wonderful time
to be
for
into
us
that
geeks.
sort of thing. That our constantly sidelined shit is now the mainstream, which is brilliant.
Which I love.
Yeah.
Finally, sir, in our this is
There's more?
what's been a trio of Marvel news. I got more Marvel news for you. Okay, this I find this interesting. Okay, now we know Martin Freeman is going to be in Civil War.
Yes.
Do we know who he's going to play yet?
You and other people, I've heard saying possibly Uncle Ben, but other than that, nothing has been revealed.
Well, the hot rumour, sir.
Oh.
And this is hot off the press. I only literally found this out today. All right. It looks like he's going to be playing the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom.
That's deeply underwhelming, isn't it?
I know. Edward Chase, who apparently is the actual Prime Minister in the Marvel universe. I don't know because I've never read any Marvel stories that have featured the Prime Minister. But apparently he's alluded to in the Age of Ultron. There's a little phone call just before Claw, Ulysses Claw, played by Andy Serkis, is interrupted by Ultron. You can hear him on the phone threatening to send missiles up someone's arse. And he says, now where were we, Minister? And apparently that's going to tie in, and this is going to be Martin Freeman is playing Edward Chase, the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. Possibly underwhelming, but possibly exciting as well, because it looks like Civil War is going to start with some sort of mission with Captain America being teamed up with a lot of British soldiers.
Okay.
And we're going to find out...
They're not stooping as low as Captain Britain, then?
Who knows? They could stoop that low, sir. They could stoop that low.
No, I'm saying that ironically because I don't think it would be, but I think for an American audience, for us to suddenly say, there's a Captain Britain, even though there is one in the comics and has been for a while, they will all go, Captain Britain.
Yeah, very probably. A little bit underwhelming, I know, but it is hot news.
Okay.
It is hot Marvel news. And I want to deliver the hot Marvel news straight on your plate.
I'm impressed by your hot news.
Thanks very much. I wish I had more for you this week, but I don't.
That was fine.
Were you sure?
That was a great.
Full.
I'm excited.
Are you satisfied?
I'm hot.
Hot, full of rumour. That's what you are. Full of Fleetwood Mac albums. Full of rumours. Right, get out the monkey farm.
Okay,
now.
I shall be on my way.
Please.
Thank you for that, sir.
You're
welcome. Now we shall move on to this week's Quick Hits.
Quick Hits.
I think it's me this week, is it not?
It is you. It's Scott.
It's me, sir. I've got to say thank you to you. Again, most times I do a quick hit that involves something that isn't a movie or a TV show. I normally have to say thank you to you because you've brought it to me and given it to me and said read. So this week I am going to give you a little synopsis of the first 2 issues of Reanimator.
Yes.
Which you well know is one of my favourite films.
It is, indeed.
I love this character. Herbert West is a brilliant, brilliant character. Obviously originally written by H.P. Lovecraft. Mm-hmm. This does not stick to that story. It doesn't really hang with the movies either. I mean, it's still the same Herbert West, but there's been no kind of mention of anything that's happened previous.
Right.
Now we are in a world full of gangsters who kind of worship, and if I get this wrong, there's going to be a load of geeks out there who are going to want my blood. Cthulhu?
Yes.
Yeah, Cthulhu,
yes.
who is the brilliant tentacled demonic thing that was invented by Lovecraft, and these guys worship him. Herbert West, as the Reanimator, is now creating this synthetic drug that he's selling to them, almost a la Scarecrow in the Nolan films. I don't know what happened there. He has created this brilliant hulking brute of a monster who's kind of like his henchman, if you will, his protector, who only ever says one thing, and it's low, because he can't actually form the word hello, so he just says low. He basically brings on board with him a female doctor who he rescues at one stage from these two muggers who he then dispatches in order for him to take him back to what he calls the playroom.
Nice.
Where he's basically doing what Herbert West Reanimator does. He's reanimating shit. It's just beautifully done. It was really upsetting a few years back because there was news of there being another Reanimator which was going to be called House of Reanimator, and the whole story of that was going to be that the president had been killed. So Herbert West was brought in to bring the president back. And the cast looked brilliant. You had John Goodman was going to be in it. Who's your man there from Fargo, whose name... William H. Macy was going to be in it as the president. Loads of people had got on board, and then it just evaporated. So it's nice to see the character brought back, albeit in comic book form. What I'd like to see an animated Reanimator movie. I think that would be great.
Oh, okay.
Especially by the guys who have done the artwork in this.
Yeah, sorry, who's written and drawn it?
This is by a guy called Keith Davidson, and the artist is Randy Valiente. It's beautiful artwork. It's exactly what I would imagine.
And published by Dynamite Entertainment.
Indeed it is, yes. Now, I've only read the first 2 issues so far. Now, I think it's a four-issue thing. Mini series, and as you well know, that's how I like my comics.
You do.
I cannot be doing with things that go on and on and on and on because I either forget to get them or I just lose interest. Something like this is perfect for me because it's a character that I absolutely adore and it's, nice and collected.
I'm amazed because knowing what a purist you are, you don't normally like people pissing about and separating too much from source material.
No, you're right.
So I'm surprised that you've said that they've deviated so far from that and yet you're enjoying that. That's great. Scott, you're growing up, my friend.
I know. I did my own laces and everything. I would advise anyone who is a fan of the Reanimator movies or great 80s horror in general, go and grab the first couple of issues of Reanimator because they are a damn good read.
And if you can't, I'm sure it'll be out in trade paperback for all 4 issues pretty soon.
I'm pretty sure it will. That's a damn good read. Reanimator, enjoy.
Good stuff. Thank you for that. Well, interestingly enough, you thanking me for your quick hit, I'm about to thank you for my quick hit.
Excellent stuff.
My quick hit this week is a movie that I first watched on, I think it was Netflix, around your place, and you said, got a great film you're going to love.
Okay.
And we sat there, and it was about 2 o'clock in the morning. We sat there and watched it all the way through, and I absolutely loved it. And I'm pretty sure that we watched it again the next morning, and I subsequently bought it on Blu-ray, and I absolutely adore it. And it is Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Oh, what a great movie. I'm actually gutted that you've got to do it before I did because I would have picked it. I'd have picked it eventually as a quick hit. It is a great movie.
It's a fantastic film. For those of you who don't know what it is, Tucker and Dale versus Evil is the flip side of all those hillbilly psycho movies where you get a group of teenage friends going out to some cabin in the middle of nowhere, meet some hillbilly nutters along the way, and end up slowly getting taken out. This is the flip side of this, whereby the people who are the hillbilly nutters, even though they're actually not, are Tucker and Dale, which is 2 brothers. One of them ends up buying this little shack in the middle of nowhere, which is supposed to be their little holiday home that they're going to do up, but it's completely broken down and dilapidated. And they travel out, and along the way, they happen to meet this group of college kids, most of them sort of horrible, spoilt types. And Dale sees this girl that he thinks is absolutely beautiful and kind of falls in love with her straight away, but he's quite socially awkward. His brother Tucker is far more street and life-wise. But unfortunately, because he's so nervous and awkward about this girl, everything that he does, they take as being very aggressive and peg them as these hillbilly psycho types.
Because all they know is what they've seen in the
Precisely,
movies. It's a movie about stereotypes.
Absolutely,
basically.
That's exactly what it is. But basically, Tucker and Dale are these really, really lovely guys.
They are the sweetest
They are so nice.
Characters.
And I should mention that Tucker is played by Alan Tudyk and Dale is played by Tyler Labine. And frankly, how this guy isn't a massive star, I really don't know why. I mean, I can remember first seeing him playing Sock back in Reaper, in which he was superb.
He steals that show.
And I thought, this guy's going to be huge. And apart from this and a couple of little TV shows, I've not really seen him in much else.
He's almost like a less abrasive Jack Black.
Yes, very much
That's
so.
how I
very
describe
much
him.
so, yes. But anyway, so they end up getting to this shack, and this shack looks like a bit of a death trap. But they start to...
They're fixer-upper.
Absolutely. They start to do it up. And then things start to go pear-shaped when they're out fishing one night and the kids are all decide to go for a swim, and this one girl goes off on her own, the one that Dale liked, goes off on her own and strips down to her undies and is going to jump in the water, and Dale's a bit embarrassed in case she sees her, but she sees him and falls in and bangs her head. And so they decide to rescue her and they pull her into the boat, and the other kids see them do this and think that they've taken her. From then on, I mean, I'm not going to ruin it for them, but hilarity ensues in as much as these kids think that these two guys are evil and therefore decide to try and take them down, but in ever-increasing ridiculous and hilarious ways end up killing themselves accidentally. And of course, as more and more of them die, they all think these two hillbilly nutjobs are taking them down. And it is just a brilliantly funny, but most importantly, clever film. It is taking, as Scott said, every horror stereotype you know and flips it on his head. The kids are the horrible, vicious, nasty ones, and these two guys. I mean, there's that wonderful scene where, if
you're going to say the scene, I think it is
with the chainsaw.
The chainsaw and the bees. It's just hilarious.
When he's running away from the bees, and the teenager is running away from him, but he actually overtakes the teenager.
He doesn't know what's going on.
Thinking, why has he run past me? And he's got this chainsaw going. Basically, because he's cutting some wood, and what he doesn't realise is underneath the wood there's a bee's nest, and he cuts into it, and the bees start chasing him. And just a clever but brilliantly funny film.
It is brilliantly written.
Yes.
And it is brilliantly portrayed, especially, as you said, by Tyler Labine and Alan Tudyk.
Yes.
Tudyk, however we're going to pronounce his name. But yeah, I mean, the chainsaw bees scene for me, I think, is one of the funniest things I've ever seen. But I don't think it would be as funny if it wasn't these two guys playing.
No, absolutely. They were made to play these roles.
It's the moment when Tucker kind of is lamenting. Why do all these kids keep killing themselves?
And they're really upset about it.
They genuinely are very upset. But like you said as well, they are the sweetest two characters that I think have ever been put on celluloid. They are just so lovely. You'd be doing yourself a disjustice if you didn't, after listening to this review, go out and actually just buy this.
Yeah.
Everyone who loves movies in general should buy this, because it is such a great film.
Very much
really good.
So that's Tucker and Dale versus Evil. Do give it a go.
A great choice, sir.
And now we should move on to this week's main topic.
When they got the ball, you know they won't drop it. The Geek-Minded fools discuss the main topic.
Okay, for this week's main topic, we wanted to talk about somebody whose influence on cinema, I think, has been absolutely massive in terms of his overall contribution. And it's someone who, for those of you who follow us on Facebook, which I'm sure is most of you, will have noticed that I put a post up about it, because at the age of 64, he has decided to sadly retire. And that is makeup artist extraordinaire Rick Baker. As I sort of mentioned in the Facebook post, I think it's a sign of modern cinema, unfortunately, that the reason he's retired was that, as he said, he likes to do a good job and he likes to turn in the best work that he possibly can. And what the movie industry seems to want at the moment in terms of makeup effects is cheap and fast, which is something that he wasn't prepared to do. So, always a man of integrity, he decided to jack it in. And it was announced a while back, wasn't it, that there was going to be an auction of a lot of the stuff from his workshop.
That's right, yeah.
But what we didn't realise was that the reason behind that was that the man is, or the maestro, is retiring. So we just wanted to have a chat about his career and his sort of impact over the years of our cinematic viewing.
Yeah, I mean, we often say on here about certain people have formed our loves and our tastes and how they've influenced the films that we watch. This guy is one
right
of those,
up there.
and he
Absolutely.
is, just the sheer amount of films that he's worked on are just astonishing. And they're not, when we say he's a special effects makeup artist, that by no means means that he's only worked in the horror field.
Absolutely.
He's done a lot of amazing stuff, really, really amazing stuff.
I mean, he's won 7 Oscars, 7 Academy Awards, which is a record. He won the first ever makeup
he did indeed.
Oscar, didn't he?
For
American Werewolf in London, back in the day.
The inaugural Academy Award for that, indeed. I love the fact that if you look on Rick Baker's wiki page, and under his career, the very first thing it says is, as a teen, Baker began creating artificial body parts in his own kitchen.
I know.
So I think he knew where he was going from a very early age.
Yeah, I mean, the thing, when you're going to talk about somebody, the first thing you do is go to their Wikipedia page, isn't it?
Yeah, in this day and age, of course you do.
I was amazed just going through his filmography, how many films he worked on I didn't know he'd worked on. And it is obviously a hugely extensive list.
Yeah.
But just going down, you think, my God, I had no idea. You know, even, I mean, the last thing he worked on was Maleficent.
Yeah,
which,
that's right.
Being the father of 2 young children, you know, we obviously own that on Blu-ray because, you know, the kids love that sort of thing. Yeah. The legacy that this man leaves behind, not only, as you say, the diversity of his body of work, but just of the groundbreaking quality of it and, you know, how much his stuff has been copied along the way.
The thing you've got to remember about him as well is he's not only an amazing special effects makeup artist, he's a brilliant special effects designer.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, you've only got to look at, obviously, American Werewolf in London to see that.
Yeah.
I actually, because obviously we do discuss beforehand what we're going to do on these podcasts to a certain degree. Today, in fact, I showed a 19-year-old person.
Steady.
I showed a 19-year-old person a video of the transformation scene in American Werewolf in London.
All right. And they'd never seen it before?
No, never seen it before. And it was great to watch the reaction on their face. So what? So none of that's all actually there. That's all in that room. Yeah, that's all in that room. There is.
We didn't have CGI back
then. CGI back then. They're like, wow, I've got to watch this whole film now because that looks amazing. And it was really good to see them react to it like that. As he stepped down now, and as you said there at the beginning, he stepped down because a lot of these companies, a lot of these studios want things done cheap and fast and quick, and he doesn't work like that. Yeah. I really hope that this doesn't mean that we've seen the last of physical effects, because I mean his work is beautiful, isn't it? These are all little pieces of artwork. Every single piece of it that he's done.
I mean, the thing is, I think makeup is very different from an effect. I don't think you could ever CGI makeup fully. You know, I mean, physical makeup effects have to be done. But as he said, you know, the worrying thing is that people just want it done cheap and quickly. I mean, this guy set the bar so high that you are inevitably going to see a fall off from that in terms of the quality of the work that's churned out there.
Yeah.
I mean, I can remember my wife coming back from taking my daughter to see Maleficent and saying how remarkable the makeup effects on Angelina Jolie were. You know, just to change her face and just give it this evil look, and obviously the various sort of fantasy creatures around it as well.
And that's something he has done very well, hasn't he? The more simplistic kind of makeup, which, you know, Maleficent. Also as well, I think, standout for me, Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder. He did the makeup on that. And I think it's really clever makeup. Because it doesn't look so fake. I mean, obviously it is fake.
Yes.
And in the film you're told it is fake because he's had it done.
Absolutely.
But I struggle to get my mind around what Rick Baker did when he sat down and went, okay, so we've got a character who is a white actor, but he's playing a black guy. Yeah, I can do that. That's fine. Next, that's how good this guy is. I mean,
remember, never go full retard.
Never go full retard ever. But you were saying a second ago that there were some films on there that you didn't realise that he worked on. What were the ones that you didn't realise?
Well, I never knew that he did Nutty Professor, for example, which, of course, you know, when you think about not only Eddie Murphy as Sherman, you know, the fat guy, but obviously him as the rest of the family.
So I didn't know that either. I thought they just force-fed Eddie Murphy.
But also, sort of springing off that, I guess, Coming to America, which, of course, Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall,
of course,
played all the black characters in the barber shop.
In the barbers, yeah.
And so, obviously, that was all Rick Baker. I mean, many, many people looked at those characters and had no idea they were Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall. Yeah. And I had no idea that he'd done this sort of... But just looking at the huge, huge list of just massive films that he's worked on, and therefore you think, Batman Forever.
Yeah.
No idea that he'd done a Batman film.
Yeah, indeed. So he would have designed and created the Two-Face effect.
Yeah. Men in Black, all those aliens and all that amazing stuff.
He's actually in Men in Black as well, I believe, at one stage. He plays one of the agents who's giving them their equipment. He was one for a cameo in certain films.
Did the Grinch, you know, the Jim Carrey film.
Yeah, I'm glad you call it the Grinch, because I don't like the American title of it. How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
Yeah.
It's just the Grinch, okay? It's just the Grinch. Yeah,
Hellboy. Never knew he did Hellboy.
Didn't know he did Hellboy.
No.
What an effect!
What an amazing makeup job!
Every bit. Hellboy from the pages of Mike Mignola. Is that correct? Is that how I pronounce it? His comic. It just looks exactly like him, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, albeit that Ron Perlman pretty much was born to play Hellboy anyway,
of course.
so he obviously had a good canvas to work on. One of my favourite pieces that he did actually was the Judge in The Frighteners.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I actually absolutely love that. There's a brilliant bit where he's talking and his jaw keeps falling off, and it's just such a clever effect.
Now, funny enough, I mean, of all those amazing things that he has done, reading on here that he said the thing he was most proud of was, what they call Harry and the Hendersons, and to us was Bigfoot and the Hendersons.
And it is great.
Still
today, if you look at it today, it's a believable character. Well, he really brought it to life.
To turn a predator and make it look like a Bigfoot was amazing.
Yeah, brilliant.
What a fantastic makeup job. You'd never know that was a predator.
You wouldn't.
No.
Kevin Peter Hall.
That's it, yes.
Who's another, unfortunately passed away
as well.
Yes, he did. He died quite a while back now, didn't he? I think from being too tall.
Kept banging his head.
Kept banging his head, yeah, indeed. Rick Baker obviously came from very, very... he had a very, very good teacher, Dick Smith. I mean, I remember growing up reading Fangoria magazine, and Dick Smith, I was about to say there was Dick on every page, but I'm not going to go with that.
That was another magazine you bought in your younger days.
It was indeed. It was bought for me by the man who lived just down the street. I mean, he started his career pretty much as an assistant to Dick Smith on The Exorcist.
Yes.
Which, I mean, if you look at the effects in that, I still think they stand up. I still think they look petrifying.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, not so much maybe the head twisting scene, because it does look a bit fake. But man, the effects on her
transformation and the degradation of her face, the way it just degrades throughout the film, and was superb. Done. And of course, we did go to a very special screening of The Exorcist, didn't we?
We did go to an extraordinarily special screening of The Exorcist. It was a lovely screening. I enjoyed that.
It was when they brought out the Blu-ray, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
Was it the 40th anniversary or something? Blu-ray.
Must have been the 40th, yeah.
And they did a special screening in London with Mr. Mark Commode.
Indeed, owner of the back and to the left glasses.
Absolutely, and we did have a bit of an adventure there. In fact, for one night, we actually swapped roles, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. We quantum leaped into each other.
Because the funny thing about me is I'm always the careful one who says, oh, hang on, we need to think this through, we shouldn't be doing this. And Scott's just the carefree one who says, oh, fuck it, let's just go.
I'm always the dick.
I don't want to say that, but you are the J and I'm the silent Bob, and I think that's all we need to say.
Yeah.
But that night, Scott had spotted a massive, great reproduction of the. It was a huge poster size, but cardboard reproduction of the Exorcist poster, and there was about 3 or 4 of these littered about the place, sort of as display items, and so. I said to a woman, is there any chance of getting one of these? And she said, oh no, I'm sorry, no. Somebody's been promised one and we're going to get Mark to sign one for charity. So we said, okay. And then we went into the place where they were serving food and there was one there. So I said, right, Scott, you create distraction and I'm going to nick it. And you were like, no, don't nick it.
Do you remember what my distraction was?
No, I don't.
It was me drinking red wine. I was like, right, I'll stand here and drink this red wine. You go and do your stuff.
Brilliant. And so I was trying to smuggle this thing away, and
not an easy thing to smuggle.
No, it was huge, wasn't it? But eventually, we sort of spoke to him, and she said, "Oh yeah, go on then, you can have that." Yeah. And then Mark Commode was just walking past us, and I sort of shouted out, "Went, Mark, would you sign this for my friend, please?" And he said, "Yeah, sure." When we get in there, and then we took it in, and the first thing he said is, "Where's that bloke with the poster that I've got to sign?" And,
no, it was even better than that. He signed it outside. We sat in the front row, and he walked in and went, "Is there a Scot in here?" And he walked down.
That's right.
And we were sat in the front row.
Yes,
and he walked down and he went, "Oh, there you go." And everyone else in the audience went, because they'd evidently asked for it as well. Yeah. And it's like, sorry, my mate Graham is Jay this evening. And then we had to sit for like 30, 40 minutes, like as far as I am from you now, like a table's length away. For a Q&A with Mark Commode would be just beaming at him.
But it was the worst Q&A in the world. There were such crappy questions. But then you had to pre-submit them, didn't you?
That's
you had to email them in. And they were so crap that he eventually said, has anybody else got any questions? And I stuck up my hand and said, do you think the film would have had the influence it had without Tubular Bells?
Yeah.
And that was the one that he really opened up on,
wouldn't it?
And actually suddenly went, oh yeah, well let me tell you a story, and sort of went on for about 10 minutes about that one, but the rest of them were shockingly shit, weren't they?
You see, the thing about us listeners is we are friend to the stars. We make them feel at home, at one. Obviously we do, because Mark Commode obviously did open up to us quite a bit. He was very nice. He was a very nice chap.
He ended up adopting you, didn't he?
He did, pretty much. Yeah, it was very nice. Very
Lovely.
nice chap. We like that. But I digress.
But anyway, back to Rick Baker.
Back to Rick Baker and his amazing career. Yeah, not just The Exorcist. Obviously, there's been so many things he's worked on. I vividly remember seeing the video cover for The Incredible Melting Man.
Do you know what? I love that. And I can remember buying a Fangoria because it specifically had the...
Yeah.
And do you know what? For years and years, I always wanted to see it and never did. And then, just when they started the Horror Channel, they on their first night, they showed The Incredible Melting Man. I thought, I'm finally going to get to watch it. What an utter pile of shit.
Oh, it's terrible.
It's a
Great video
dreadful
cover.
film. Yes. Great premise.
Yeah, great video cover, which is basically all of Rick Baker's work on the video cover.
But the one thing I can remember, the picture of Fangoria, was the bit at the end when he's against the wall and he just sort of slides down the wall and completely melts away.
Obviously, we've touched on American Werewolf in London. One of the things I think that kind of brought him
to the mainstream
would have been Thriller, really,
absolutely. Which I know, obviously, you weren't a great fan of, but you
Not
have
really.
to say, I mean, Jackson obviously wanted Landis and Baker on board, to make the video after seeing American Werewolf in London. But yeah, that brought into the mainstream, and I think, obviously, as a transformation, it wasn't quite up there with American Werewolf in London
Go away!
Yeah, because it was quite limited. This Scott's very famous impression there.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, groundbreaking, and again, as you say, very much brought into the masses. And I think that video revolutionised the whole music entertainment scene in terms of what you could deliver
Undeniable,
as a promo for your song.
Undeniable, regardless of my thoughts on Michael Jackson, and I'm not the hugest of fans of Michael Jackson.
You're not.
It is undeniable that Thriller is a landmark piece of work.
Groundbreaking.
As you say, music video would not be what it is today without that. But it certainly would have been a lot more boring without Rick Baker at the helm of it. Because,
God, yes.
I mean, every single moment that a zombie is on screen in that movie is so lovingly done. I mean, I can take or leave the werecat transformation, but the zombies I really, really love. So, I mean, we knew Michael Jackson definitely had taste in something. Harsh? Too soon?
And then we move on from there, and I didn't know he did, again, Greystoke.
That's one that I did know. And it was very... I mean, because obviously reading Fangoria a lot, I knew that he'd done a lot of work on that. And when you go back and look at it now, what was that? 1984, Greystoke. Again, really, really groundbreaking work for as early as it was. Because, they're pretty believable looking apes in that. They're pretty beautifully done. And I think if you held them up and compared them against maybe the CGI apes in things like Rise of the Planet of the Apes, I still think they look better. I really do. I think they look...
those ones, yeah.
I think they look better. The physical effect, just always to me looks better. I had a very brief discussion with my friend the other night about the differences between makeup and CGI. I don't think, for me, if I'd have been, if I was a teenager now watching films, I don't think I'd have got into the horror genre. I really don't. Because for me, the whole thing was about seeing
realism,
seeing the machete connect with the head, seeing the head, being lopped off, seeing the werewolf in the living room with Blue Moon playing in the background.
Sure.
It really, it brings you into the film, doesn't it? And that's what the scary thing is.
And I would say, good as something like Rise of the Planet of the Apes was, the one thing that took you out of it was no matter how good it looked, there was a certain unreality, non-reality, call it what you will, about the apes. Whenever Caesar was on screen, as good as it looked, it wasn't real.
No, exactly.
And therefore that immediately takes you out of the experience somewhat.
Yeah, Greystoke is a film that I've only probably seen 2 or 3 times, but I always remember really enjoying it when I saw it when I was much younger. Maybe it's a film I'll pick up again just to have a look. Maybe it's worth actually going through Rick Baker's entire back catalogue just to see some of this amazing stuff again. Flash forward a few years, one that I always remember from the video stores was Rat Boy.
Yes.
Because it was really quite an eerie effect that he'd done on this child. And he designed that character. What an artist.
Mm-hmm.
Every bit, the artist. And of course, as we mentioned earlier, once we get up to sort of 1987, we've got what he considers to be his proudest moment, which was Bigfoot and the Hendersons.
Yep.
I'm giving it the British name.
Yes, absolutely.
And I have to agree, it still to this day is a stunning looking creature. He's so believable. Every nuance on his face, every the curvature of his smile and his teeth and his eyes. There's that lovely scene where they're blow drying his hair. They've just given him a bath, and he's so happy. And it's do you know what? What a lovely film. What, isn't it a lovely film, though, eh?
Scott, you're almost revealing yourself to have a heart at the moment, which I know isn't the case.
Definitely not. Definitely not. I could see a lot of films on the list there as well that are films that are not really my cup of tea, but I still appreciate the work. Things like, I know we've got a friend of ours who's a big fan of The Rocketeer, which to me I just found very, very dull, but, created the makeup effect for Lothar, who is, I believe, the bad guy in The Rocketeer. It's a film I've not seen for a long time.
But again, it goes to show his diversity.
Yeah.
Funny enough, you look down the list and you see, obviously, he did the Tim Burton Planet of the Apes. He did Gorillas in the Mist.
Yep.
He did, as we said, Greystoke. He also did in 87, 88, he did a film Werewolf. He also did Thriller. He did, The Howling, he did, of course.
There's a theme here, isn't there?
Yeah,
Mighty Joe Young.
Absolutely.
The original King... Well, I say the original King Kong, the 76 King Kong.
Yes.
I think he actually is King Kong.
Oh, is he?
I believe that's him in the suit.
So, I remember my dad taking me and my sister to
really?
see that at the cinema.
Well, our very good friend Mark,
who
does the artwork.
And Mark, you got your mention. Well done, sir.
Well, Mark has told me a story before about how he won a competition to go and see King Kong.
No.
Yeah, and he won a big standee of it. Something along the lines of he never got the standee, but he remembers the film very well. So there you go. So I
can remember buying the paperback.
I've got the paperback as well.
Yes.
The Dino, it's got a Dino De Laurentiis production. It's him on the front, on top of the building, isn't
Absolutely,
it, with the plane?
yes.
I've got that.
And what was it he climbed up in that film?
Was it the Empire State?
No, it was the Empire State in the original. It was the Twin Towers.
The Twin Towers, it was, wasn't it?
He climbed up the Twin Towers, yes.
My goodness. I like the 76 version of King Kong.
Well, it sort of got quite sexy with sort of Kong sort of toying with Jessica Lange's outfit and almost getting her boobies out. It was, and as an 8-year-old boy at the time, I can remember thinking of it. Oh, hello.
Is that what got you into monkey fingers? And of course, as well, the King Kong from the 76 King Kong was the King Kong that adorned the ride at Universal for so many years.
Yes,
and I was very lucky to be one of the last riders on said ride before they closed it down.
Riders on the Kong.
Riders on the Kong. I don't know where that came from, but it was damn beautiful.
It was wonderful.
Damn beautiful. Jim Morrison meets King Kong.
But funnily enough, one fact that I've always known about Rick Baker that I was so looking forward to sharing, and then went to the Wikipedia page and there it was front and centre, and I thought, oh bollocks, everybody's going to know this. And that is the fact that in The Empire Strikes Back
I like this fact.
The Emperor, who back then of course wasn't referred to as the Emperor, he was actually referred to as the Grand Vizier.
Yes.
Because when you bought Darth Vader's, what's it called, the Star Destroyer, it was called a Star Destroyer set, and you could pop a little flap down which had a picture of it, and he was referred to as the Grand Vizier.
Was he? Oh,
yes.
No, I didn't know that.
And but of course then went on to be the Emperor, and therefore has since been edited out by Ian McDiarmid. But the part of the Emperor was played by Rick Baker's wife.
It was indeed.
Voiced by Clive Revill, but Rick Baker's wife was given chimpanzee eyes. They superimposed chimpanzee eyes over her own. Now, to me, I remember at the time thinking, it looks really weird because it looks like his face is incorporated a big pair of glasses.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah.
But yeah, it was Rick Baker's wife with chimpanzee eyes, voiced by Clive Revill.
We like that. We really like that. That's got to be top trivia.
And I thought, I'm going to blow Pete away with that, and he's there right in the middle of his bloody Wikipedia page.
Do you know what's even
God
funny?
damn you, Wikipedia.
What's even funnier is I thought I was going to blow you away with it, but you've done it before. You've done it first. No, that's absolutely fine. I have to give a little mention to the fact that he did the special effects makeup on Wild Wild West, which I think is quite clearly one of the films of anyone's generation.
Do you mean Wiki Wiki Wild, Wiki Wiki Wild, Wiki Wiki Wild Wild West?
To give it its correct name, yes.
Indeed.
That's exactly what it's called.
Oh, we're enjoying this one, aren't we?
We are enjoying this one. You're right, though. There are a lot of films on his list of work.
I mean, Star Wars.
Yeah.
He worked on Star Wars, for God's sake.
He did indeed. Was he not one of the band as well? I think he was one of Figurin Dan and the Modal Nodes. You know, the guys, those guys. Obviously, what I just did is not going to carry across on
you really didn't
audio.
have to do the song. I do know who you mean by the canteen.
Well, it was more the dance that I was doing, which maybe, who knows, we might start a YouTube channel and you can just see me dancing. Maybe you can tell us what you'd like to see me dance.
Were you doing the Cantina song that's well known, or were you doing the bit afterwards where it's din 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 din?
That's the bit I was doing. Yeah,
well done, sir.
That's the bit I was doing. Not the that bit. I wasn't.
hell was that?
I wasn't doing that bit. It is a real terrible, sad shame, I think, that he's retiring. But I cannot tell you how much I respect him for why he's
No,
retired.
absolutely. You know, the man has integrity, and that seems to be something that's becoming less and less prevalent in the movie industry, which is a great shame. But fair play to him for saying, look, you know, you either do it my way, and if you're not prepared to have it the way that I deliver it, then I'm walking away. But
Indeed.
I mean, fair play to him for that, but, you know, I mean, what a body of work to leave behind.
What a body of work.
That's absolutely second to none. As I say, you know, the man's walking away with 7 Academy Awards, you know, which is a record in the category, so he's obviously doing something right. And that was for An American Werewolf in London, Bigfoot and the Hendersons, Ed Wood, The Nutty Professor, Men in Black, The Grinch, and Wolfman, which I didn't realise he'd won for that.
He did indeed. He's actually the first victim in The Wolfman as well. He's the Wolfman's first victim.
There you go.
I'd like
that was
now
a great
to
thing
see...
because, like the great Tom Savini,
one of my biggest heroes.
Indeed, he was famous for making cameos in the films he was working on, which is brilliant. So,
I would now like to see Rick Baker release a book.
Yes, that would be great.
And I would like the book, please, to be called Monkey Fingers, Rat Boys, and Captain EO. Go on, Rick. You know you can do it. If you're listening, I think you are. All the famous people listen to our podcast, as you well know, because we are Friend of the Stars.
Yes. Apparently. But yeah, God bless you, Rick. Just, as I say, an amazing body of work. And I hope as many people who have watched his films have realised the influence that he's had on, you know, not only people's enjoyment of movies, but in the industry in general. I think he was very much a one-off. I think, you know, he sort of came in, obviously did various bits and pieces, but it was An American Werewolf in London and spinning off that thriller that really made his name. And I would say there's very few people, if anybody, who can touch him in terms of quality.
Wholeheartedly agree, sir. And I think from the Geek-Minded Fools, a massive, massive salute and a massive thank you.
Sir.
We salute you, Rick Baker, and I'm sure all the geeks around the world salute you. So thank you.
Absolutely. So, that's it for another episode.
It is.
Yep. Well, for Geek-Minded Fools, I've been Graham.
And I've been Scott.
Thanks very much for listening, and we'll see you next time.